Welcome to NocBro Nation.
What's going on?
Hey guys, today we are excited because we are finally back for The Walking Dead.
It's finally back.
Yeah.
And this premiere was absolutely insane.
Yeah,
it was freaking awesome.
It was amazing. Yeah, guys, so after months of waiting, we finally get the return of The Walking Dead, and boy, did it really just outdo itself. I mean,
It didn't disappoint.
Yeah, it did not disappoint, guys.
Not at all.
I think I did not get to watch it live. You watched it live, I think.
Yep, I watched it live.
We were going to do a reaction, but our schedules just didn't meet up and we couldn't do that. So guys, we probably will at some point in the season, whether it's a mid-season finale or maybe the season ending finale, we'll do a reaction video where you get to see us watch it live because obviously we're huge fans. So
yes, indeed.
Let's get right into the episode. So the episode is called Mercy.
Mercy.
And we open up with kind of Rick, a light kind of panning down on Rick, sunlight, while he's at obviously Glenn and Abraham's grave. And it was kind of, you know, I've had a chance to kind of look at reviews or comments about the episode. Many people were confused. Those people that were confused obviously were not comic book readers because throughout the episode we got sprinkled in what was it? Foreshadowing, right? Or future events, basically.
Future events, yeah.
Right.
Showing old man Rick, and you know he's quite older, and you know, it's just a lot of. If you didn't read the comic books, you probably have no idea what they're talking, what they're kind of pointing to. That's going to eventually be at that point sometime in the future, but. That's usually the case.
Yeah, so, you know, before we go any further, guys, spoilers for the comics and the show, because we are going to sprinkle a little bit of comics in here, especially from what we just talked about, this foreshadowing. And let's go further into that, right? So the group is getting ready for All Out War. We have officially confirmed the season is All Out War. This episode was them gearing up for the start of that war.
Yep. Everybody's getting together. The Kingdom, the Hilltop, and Alexandria are just all binding together and formulating a plan, which they've done a lot of work.
Yes,
I mean they're gearing up these cars that have like this metal panels on either side of them. They're formulating their plan and they are going through with it. Yeah,
and that was one hell of a plan. You know, we have, like you said, the panels on the side of the car. We have obviously a herd of walkers that they are kind of, and you knew the whole time what was happening, right?
Yeah.
They were gearing this. They were kind of herding this horde of walkers, you know, toward the sanctuary,
right?
And you kind of knew that as the episode was going on, but it was methodical how they had it done, right?
Yeah, it was very planned out, and we get to see a little bit later where Daryl gets involved, and he's systematically just blowing up certain areas to attract the walkers to continue on towards the sanctuary. But what was interesting though about that is that it seemed like they not really came across them before, because Tara was doing time.
Yeah.
Like she was like, well, this. And I'm not sure if she was keeping time as to when they were coming, or she was just keeping time. Yeah. So I thought maybe they were tracking them. Like, okay, it's 10:58. They're supposed to be here by now.
Yeah, because at one point she does a countdown, and she's obviously wrong, and you knew they were going to pop around that corner.
Oh yeah.
But she obviously misses it by 3 seconds. There's no walk, there's no herd, and then all of a sudden it comes peering, in the background. But and then she was like, "Oh, a few seconds doesn't matter,"
right?
But
I like to know, I like to know.
No, you're fine.
I like to see kind of where they started from, because if she's timing them, so it's like, where exactly did they find them, for one thing?
Yeah.
And how long have they been herding them towards the sanctuary? Yeah. How long it's taken them?
That's exactly what I was just going to say.
Yeah.
With as much, information that we got about their planning in this episode, it really makes you wonder how long they've been planning this attack.
Because you have to think of how slowly they walk, and if they hear other noises, they're
not in the end.
Well, yeah.
In the end, it looked like they were fast pacing.
But like how slowly they walk, and if they hear another noise, it's going to deter them. So they're basically like not shepherds of the keep, but cattle herders basically. They have to keep them in line. So Yeah, excuse me. I'm sorry if my voice sounds weird. I'm a little bit under the weather, and so I'm a little bit nasally right now. But so yeah, it was the thing is how long it took them to get them there.
Yeah.
So,
the planning was great. So, and also, if you guys hadn't noticed, we had bands on each person that was in the war, and it was really cool because if you haven't noticed, the Hilltop was wearing green, Alexandrians were wearing white. And then the Kingdom was wearing red.
Red, yep.
And it's actually quite intelligent to do something like that because when you're in a war like this and you don't have any, other than the Kingdom, you don't have certain
uniforms
right?
To distinguish yourself. So it kind of helps them to. I mean, even in a fight, that's going to be hard to see. You're going that fast, but it'll help you distinguish. Okay,
they don't know who's the savior.
These are my own. Yeah, because they're all. I mean, everyone's wearing just plain clothes. This isn't like the military where you're wearing, actual uniforms and you can distinguish yourself from the enemy. So
yeah,
I thought that was pretty ingenious. Actually.
Yeah, it was pretty great. And again, it just goes into the planning. So we get Rick, who is kind of giving a speech to everyone and riling everyone up. But in between that, let's go back to the foreshadowing. We get Old Man Rick waking up to some flowers by his bed, and he wakes up to music. Later in a flashback, we get him waking up from that bed and then seeing Michonne. He's obviously got a cane, so he has a limp. For those of you that do not know what that is, I read one comment of someone saying, how long is this? He's grown all this hair and he's got a cane, yet Michonne hasn't aged at all. That's not what it is.
All right.
The facial hair, obviously, in 2-year time frame, you can grow out that much.
Right.
The leg is actually because during the war, and spoiler alert, guys, last warning, during the all-out war, Negan actually breaks his leg.
Yes, he does.
So that's the foreshadowing.
Yeah.
And I think one of the final scenes we get from that particular foreshadowing event was an older Judith coming up to Rick. And what's very
She looked
interesting,
like she was like maybe 8 or 9, maybe 10, something like that.
Yeah. What's very interesting about that is she says everyone's at the festival waiting. And if you're a comic book fan, like when I heard that, like I'm getting goosebumps now because during that festival, some crazy shit goes down.
Yes, it does. Yeah, so like we said, spoilers if you haven't read the comics, we don't know if the show is going to do this. We have no idea because they've taken some side routes from the comics themselves. So, just by seeing we're seeing it live in a show and knowing that we've already read it in the comics, we're like, okay, yeah, awesome. And there was another thing that I saw that I was surprised about. I'm not going to spoil that. I'm not going to say. I'm going to say
and I won't actually say what happens at the festival.
Right.
I would just say it is a big event later on in the comics that I was very surprised that they put in there.
Well, what I was saying is that there was another when seeing Old Man Rick awake and seeing him walk around, there was something else that I noticed that I was surprised of something. So I'm not going to spoil it. That'll be off camera when we talk about it.
Man, I really want to talk about that.
No,
I don't know what it is.
No, we're not going to spoil it anymore. We already did.
So we get to foreshadowing, and basically we kind of saw throughout the episode, it wasn't that Rick was questioning going to war. I think he was more or less just worried, I guess, is the best way to put it for me.
Right, and I kind of got confused by those scenes because there were really close-up shots of him, and his eyes are blood red. It seemed like he was, either awake for days, he's been crying a lot, and each time we saw it after he had those, after he's kind of talking to himself and closing his eyes, it cut to kind of the Old Man Rick scene. So I'm kind of curious as to, okay, is he still standing over the graves of the dead, or is he, I don't know, is something else happening that he's freaking out about that's making him
when you mentioned the bloodshot eyes, it almost reminded me of when he was back at episode 90 or season 7 premiere, the lineup.
Yeah,
because it looked exactly the background didn't,
right,
but I'm just talking his facial expressions and the way he was just breaking down.
Yeah,
That's what it reminded me of.
And
it looked exactly like it.
Yeah, I mean, It could be, like you said, still standing over the graves, maybe and just freaking out, being so remembering everything, and that's why. And then we get to the shot of future, kind of future old man Rick. So we'll have to wait and see. But I was kind of confused by that piece.
I almost think of maybe it was a way of him teetering between, needing to do this, seeing what had happened and what was to come. Right. And bouncing back and forth between those two events.
That's true. That makes sense.
Maybe that's what it was. But it was really great because they tied it in at the end where he finally realizes that because of what possibly could come, really just overcame him and said, I forgot the line he said, but something about mercy, the title of the episode.
Right.
And then he gives his final speech saying, let's do this. Let's do this. Because the days that are to come are well worth what's going to happen in the temporary. Right.
Yeah. And so we also get to see something really cool as they're kind of still formulating their plan. We get to see some interaction back at the sanctuary with our old good friend Dwight.
Yeah.
So he's outside just working on his motorcycle, and all of a sudden, an arrow comes in right to this tire and has a note on it which says tomorrow. And he scribbles some stuff on there, does a couple things, and shoots an arrow back. And actually, Daryl's waiting for it.
Pulls it out of the wood.
And
I loved that.
I thought it was awesome. Yeah. And actually, what he gave, even though it didn't seem like it took him very long to write it down, what he actually gave him were the outpost locations.
Yeah. So that's what I was kind of going to ask, because there was a lot of writing. And it looked like he didn't write that. It looked like he didn't have enough time to write everything they had. So I'm almost wondering, is that the information he gave Dwight? Maybe past communications, and they've just kind of saved that up?
Yeah.
Because look,
it didn't seem like that came from the arrow that he shot back.
No. But that information had to come from Dwight. Dwight's the only person that knows all that, right?
Yep.
So, like you said, he gives them all of the outposts or lookout locations.
And they start going around and they start taking these guys out.
Awesome. So. Yeah, because we know that Negan's got lookouts and he's got outposts. And the lookouts are there, obviously, to flare up a signal in case anything happens.
Right.
So that's one of the first things they have to do is take out those.
Yeah. So at one of the outpost locations, I got confused. Was it somebody who just committed suicide? The dude that's standing on top of the tree. The dude that's standing,
because on the note it says tree post or whatever. That's an actual lookout. And Dwight was the one that shot him, and then he falls down.
Oh,
that was the first lookout.
I think I missed the arrow getting shot at him. I thought it was just some guy who was like, you know what, I'm done. I'm just going to kill myself.
Yeah. And honestly, it kind of confused me a little bit too until they got to the pad and they
and they marked it off. Yeah. That was cool. That was awesome.
So they get the tree post. They get a couple other lookouts.
The one was really cool.
Yeah.
With Rick.
Oh,
and the guy.
Man, that was amazing. That was awesome. And I think they did a callback to Shane. Because he says something about his daughter.
So Rick goes onto this specific outpost or lookout location.
Whistles.
Yeah, he whistles, and he goes in. He just stabs the dude. He kind of leaves him alive, but there's also a walker tied to a post right there. Yeah. And the dude kind of starts talking to Rick. He's like, "Look,
he's shit."
He's talking smack. He's like, "You're not gonna win. They're gonna kill everybody. They're gonna kill your daughter." And did he mention Shane or
he didn't mention Shane? He says something like they're going to kill the daughter that you've been looking after or something.
Right,
kind of mentioning that it wasn't his daughter.
How the hell would he know? Yeah, who knows? But as
Negan,
as he's talking crap,
Eugene,
there we go. Yeah, as he's talking crap and as he leaves, he just cuts the cord for the walker, then the walker just devours the guys.
That was awesome.
It was awesome. As Rick's walking away, like those action movies, you're walking away as an explosion happens. Yeah, you're walking away, some dudes get eaten by a walker. Don't even look back.
Yeah, another thing that kind of was really cool was the speeches. We got, of course, the speech from Rick, but even King Ezekiel, whenever he talks, even the whole rhetoric that he uses, I'm okay with.
Yeah, even though it came out in, what was it, season 7 or season 6? Season 7 with Carol, and she was like, "Dude, why do you talk like this?" Yeah. I'm like, "You're not a king." And he's like, "Look, I know, but it's just what I've been doing. It helps the people." And the way that he speaks, his speech was awesome, man. I mean, he got me pumped up.
Yeah,
it was just like,
he was like, ladies, gentlemen, and then the tiger roars.
Right.
So we do get a shout out of Shiva.
Yeah. She's sitting there chilling.
So it was really great. So we get some conversations before they actually go to war, and this was kind of great because we get one conversation specifically that I'm thinking of between Father Gabriel and Rick. Was really amazing, and basically Father Gabriel is saying it's not about one person,
right.
It's about us,
right.
And he tells Rick, he reassures Rick that you're the one that made us that way. Right. That you are you're the person that made us see it's not about one person, it's about us as a whole.
Right. And that's the thing that Rick has been fighting for so long, is that he's felt that he's had to be the leader, and he's gone through certain situations where he's like, I don't want to lead anymore. I don't want to do it. And even as they were, beginning to, they're formulating their plan, and he kind of says that Maggie said that she's going to only do this first part of the plan and then go back to the hilltop and chill.
She's like, doctor said during the first trimester we can have war.
Right. But after that, Rick says to Maggie, he's like, look, after all this is done, I'm following you.
Yeah.
And
love that
now,
scene.
Later on, Rick does have a little setback, thinking it's all about him, and Father Gabriel reminds him of it. But we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah, so during his speech, he says, there's only one person that we have to kill, and I will kill him.
Yep.
Obviously, we know we're talking about Negan.
Negan.
So we get right into it, right?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So they make their way. And so I think Daryl goes ahead. No, Rick goes ahead first.
We got one part of the crew going towards the sanctuary. The other part of the crew is maintaining the herd.
So Rick goes ahead and he's signaling the car, for all the car caravan people to come in. I think he took out a couple guys. Daryl is out there, and they are still, bringing the horde in. He's shooting massive things that keep their attention going.
In the meantime, there is a convoy of the sanctuary going, because they see the explosion, one of the explosions.
Right, yep.
And Dwight actually tells them, as they're going out, Dwight, kind of tells them they want blood. Right. They're inquiring, could it be Rick? Could it be them? And they say that we want blood. And
Dwight's like, no, I don't think it is.
I don't think it is, but maybe you'll get lucky.
Yeah, maybe you'll get lucky. So he sends them there, and there's also a trap set for them. So as they're making their way back to the sanctuary or going towards the explosions, Morgan, Carol, and Tara have a trap set up for them. But unfortunately, as they're waiting, there's some walkers coming through, and it's going towards the tripwire. So Morgan gets out there, takes them down, and then those cars, within like minutes, come through. Boom, they're done.
Yeah.
And as that explosion happens, that happens a little bit later. Yeah. So they get to the sanctuary. They're setting up all the cars lined up with the metal panels towards the entrance in case they get fired upon.
Yep.
And so they're just all standing there, and they just fire their weapons, and they're waiting to see who comes out. So eventually, Negan comes out.
I love this scene.
He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I was in a meeting."
That was kind of spot on.
So it's Dwight, Negan, Eugene, Simon,
and one other guy.
And
it's the guy that does the meetings with the Kingdom. I forgot his name.
Right, one other guy, and then that chick. There's a girl as well.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a girl.
Yeah, and what's crazy is the guy that meets up. Gosh, I'm really forgetting his name. I want to know his name, but anyway, John. I don't know.
Maybe
I'm getting that wrong. The guy that meets with the Kingdom, outside of the Kingdom in season 7, we've always known him to kind of be lenient. Mm-hmm. He wants to keep the peace, but he knows that this is the way it has to be. He at one point tries to stop this from happening. Mm-hmm. So basically, Rick and crew come out and tell Negan and his people, this is your one opportunity to surrender.
Right. All of you. He's like, I will let the rest of you live. And Negan kind of makes a funny. I was like, oh, so you're only talking about one other person who needs to die, right? He knows he's talking about him. And he says that, you need to leave, and I'll give you, you need to leave now. And that's when, after Morgan and the crew, set up that trap for them, that explosion. Negan sees that explosion, and he's like, oh, things are starting to go down, huh? So Negan's kind of maybe thinking that it was actually them who was up to killing their people right now.
Yep.
And so...
But he also knows that he's got the numbers, because at one point he says to Rick, do you really want to go down this route? Because you know I have the numbers.
And what's interesting is, like, we'll get in... So I'll say this for actually we get into the fight. So Rick starts his countdown.
I love that part.
He was like,
really,
yeah.
Are you really going to make me count down?
Yeah.
Which he doesn't count down. The dude gets to 7.
He gets to 7, and they start... Now, I thought, as he fired, okay, I know they're not going to kill Negan right off the bat, but I was like,
could have easily done it.
If you shot at Negan and you didn't kill him as he's standing stationary with a machine gun, you were a terrible shot.
Yeah.
But what they were doing is shooting out all the glass in the building. Now, the purpose of that, I didn't completely understand.
So when obviously there were some broken out windows already, and when I say some, maybe 1 or 2. When you open up that entire building to the outside environment,
that's true.
Not to mention you have a herd of zombies surrounding the entire building.
Yeah.
I would assume that the living conditions on the inside are not going to be very good.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, that's the only conclusion that I can come to.
Right. And so as they're firing, they're just firing into the glass, and they actually, all of them escape. But here's my thing. Here's what I didn't get. So the whole time at the sanctuary, you only see, 5 saviors?
Yeah.
You don't see his numbers.
Yeah.
His numbers aren't there. Well, they could be inside, but we don't see that.
Yeah.
We know of the little numbers at the outposts and the lookouts that they took care of, but they don't even come out to fight.
And they haven't hit any outposts yet.
Right? Yeah, not the outposts. They did the lookouts.
Yeah,
but
lookouts.
During this quick little fight, none of them came outside. Yeah. Everyone retreated back in. Negan was kind of stuck in a rock and a hard place. He was outside, and this where it came where Rick was firing at him, trying to kill him, and he kind of went numb in his head, and Father Gabriel's trying to grab him and be like, look, this isn't about one person, remember? Because that's what, but that's what I was kind of confused, like, where are all his dudes?
Yeah, so...
He's probably has a plan in place.
You got to think he has a plan, but at the same time, if we're basing it upon... Again, we're going back to the comic books, but if we're basing it upon that, there really, at this time, is not a plan.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, look, we have... I think the entire season is going to be all-out war. But after seeing this one episode, I'm like, how can we fill an entire season with this?
Right. Yeah.
There's going to have to be some stuff going on, and we'll get into that in our predictions video as to what the next episode is going to be about. But what this does is this now isolates Negan and the Saviors in one building.
Right.
And probably for a while.
Yeah. Oh, and we forgot one critical thing that happened before they started shooting is Simon brings out little Mr. Snake Gregory.
Oh gosh, Gregory.
So Gregory steps out, and as he starts talking, Maggie and Jesus look at each other, and Jesus is like, yeah, of course that's where he went.
Yep.
And so Gregory says, look, the Hilltop stands with Negan. Anyone who doesn't stand with Negan will be sent out. Your families will be sent out. You will not have a place to live. And there's other people from the Hilltop looking at each other like, oh man, should I leave right now? Like maybe they're thinking of quitting, but
Maggie even gives them the option.
Yeah, she does. She's like, do what you need to do.
What you need to do.
Right.
Of course they don't.
They don't. Right. Jesus yells out, the Hilltop stands with Maggie.
Yep.
So, and then this is where Simon gets so mad and he pushes Gregory down the stairs. He's like, you're useless to me now.
Yeah. So, it's pretty obvious that now, if we didn't know already that Maggie controlled or was the leader of the Hilltop, we definitely know now.
Yeah.
So I think this episode really put that in stone for Maggie.
So the fight continues. Mm-hmm. They kind of go with their plan. They leave a lot of the cars there. They jump in a couple others. Actually, Father Gabriel jumps in the RV that's got a shield in the front, breaks through the gate. And as the walkers are now the horde is now starting to arrive. So they break down the gate so the hoarders can get in. And they kind of start retreating now. But Father Gabriel, for some odd reason, was in the car, about ready to go. He sees Gregory screaming for his life, and Father Gabriel tries to go save him, but then Gregory gets up, runs to the car, bails on him, and now Father Gabriel is stuck, surrounded by a massive horde, nowhere to go, and he actually ends up running into a trailer to find his safe haven
and to get his shitting pants on.
And this is where we come back to the premiere trailer that we got about better have your shitting pants on.
Yeah,
so he runs in the trailer where Negan's hiding.
Yeah. and what's funny is like when you first saw that, because we saw that preview clip like months ago. When you saw that preview clip, we were like, oh shit, they have Father Gabriel and Negan's threatening him.
Right.
But really, what I think Negan is basically getting to at this point is like, we're fucked, dude.
Yeah,
and you're shitting your pants probably because of that.
Exactly. So that's exactly what I thought. Because when we saw that trailer, we we're like, oh man, they captured Father Gabriel and he's threatening him. But no. I'm thinking he's just making fun of himself. Like, look, we're in a little trailer surrounded by a horde. We're both shitting our pants.
Yeah. And what's funny is if you happen to catch Talking Dead afterwards, it was funny because Chris Hardwick pulled out a pack of diapers and it says Negan's shitting pants. And it had a picture of Negan and threw it at the Father Gabriel actor.
That's funny. That's awesome.
So, yeah, I'm real quick, we have just a fast scene of Carl running into a rogue survivor on the road. Rick actually helps Carl by shooting above his head, causing him to scatter. And at the end of the episode, Carl leaves out some cans with a note that's saying he's sorry. So we don't know who that is. We may not get any more information on that, but
it was an interesting scene just because I think Carl has a very good heart, and I think he was kind of pissed at his dad for a second, and Rick kept saying, I shot above his head, I shot above his head. But the point was, look, this was somebody literally starving to death, in need. Why couldn't we help him? And of course,
Rick says it could have been a savior.
Yeah, Rick said it could have been a savior, trying to trick you. And what a lot of people were saying is that when we got to see that kind of a quick clip of that scene before the season premiere, it said that possibly also paid homage to the very first episode of The Walking Dead. When Rick was kind of going through there, he was looking under the car. And
he was also at a gas station.
He was at a gas station. I think that's when he ran into the little girl that he had to shoot. So
before I go back to that scene real quick, another homage to previous episodes was when Carol and Tara were on the bridge, and there was a flower spray painted on the barricade wall. Yep. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Was that from Daryl? Or flower?
Look at the flowers when she had to shoot the girl.
Yeah.
But going back to that scene, more importantly, what I gathered from that scene is Rick says to Carl, or Carl says to Rick, I can't remember which one, but one of them says, we were supposed to meet here. Right. And basically what that's saying to me is they're off on their own. And Carl is now away from Rick for a long enough time to actually have a meetup spot.
Right.
So he's kind of separating from his father a little bit.
Right. Yeah. So that was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
I mean, overall, guys, I blown away by the episode. It was a really awesome way to...
Is that it? We close out?
I think that is.
I think that's it. I thought it was great.
I mean, we might be missing something, but...
Yeah, I mean, like we said, we're going to... The way we like to do reviews, I mean, certain times we like to do kind of go scene by scene almost, but sometimes that can kind of get a little long. So we like to jump back and forth, but I think we did pretty well kind of going through the whole flow of the episode. Yeah, we were so just jazzed for this. We couldn't wait for The Walking Dead to return, and just the possibilities of where this is going. We know hopefully this will be the entire season of All Out War. But after this first episode, it's going to be like, man, there's going to be a lot of filler in here too, because there's going to be a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of filler. We got to have scenes of like what Negan and his people are doing to try to prepare, and other maybe side things that are happening. So
Jadis and the Garbage People.
Yeah, Jadis and the Garbage People were, all that jazz. So it's going to be jam-packed.
It's crazy, yeah. I'm really excited to see how this season's going to go. So yeah, let us know what you guys thought of episode 100. Amazing episode. Can't wait for episode 2, guys. And stay tuned for our predictions video coming up for episode 2.
Yep. So subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the like button if you like what you saw, and stay tuned for more Walking Dead. We will see you soon. We're NocBro Nation, and we're out.